Where to start? I suppose the best place to start is where this journey began. It really started as a kid, just picking up a camera, picking up a pen, drawing, creating videos. That creative side of me began to develop. There are thousands of projects archived, stored on my dad's hard drive of just these creative endeavors. Different videos, Lego stop motion, anything and everything you can think of as a creative project, I've done it. And as I got older, these projects, naturally got bigger and bigger. And I think the most substantial project that really came about was a book that I actually wrote called Amor Rising. It is not substantial. It's definitely probably it's not a great book. So I wouldn't recommend reading it or the desire to read it. I seriously need to hire some sort of an editor to actually go through it and make it and craft it into something decent. But the bottom line was that I accomplished something. It was something that I was very proud of. And while the quality may not be, a level of some bestseller book, I still did something. I did something that I was proud of. And from then, and a short time after that, I started this a YouTube show called On the Go. And this conversation and kind of this thought of reminiscing really came when I was talking with Sebastian in our latest episode of the Subliminal show, and we had talked about On the Go, and it really brought up in me these desires, and I just started clicking through the various videos that I had created just being a part of that show, and started to realize that On the Go is really a precursor to what I'm doing now. It was a show that emphasized the importance of learning and creativity and wanting to go above and beyond probably what my standards were. Obviously, it didn't go anywhere super large and big, but the audience that I did get, they enjoyed what I did, and that's what made me happy. And I really enjoyed that process of creating those videos, being, fun and spontaneous. But it kind of closed, and a lot of that was because of school and just other things just kind of got in the way. And so I decided to take a step back. After doing the show for, I'd say just under 8-9 months. But then after On We Go, and a couple of years later, I came up with this idea of, I do want to start a company. It's a company that I want to be able to help fellow artists like myself be able to have a community and space where they can share their art with others, but also just the general public. And we can build this community of fellow artists. Again, it wasn't limited to the more traditional forms of art, but music and film, and I wanted to be able to fund a lot of these creative endeavors for people to grow. The shirt that I'm wearing here is a remnant of that era. I created some t-shirts, some clothing. Again, it wasn't anything fancy. I slapped my logo and creative things on different clothing items, and tried to sell them. Obviously, that didn't work, and I'm not making millions off of my brand new clothing brand that no one's ever heard of, but that's not the point. The point is I did learn something from it, and the greater desire of what that company was supposed to be still lives on. Phileo art, and more accurately at this point, Phileo, is more an idea than it is an actual, business. But it's this idea and kind of this official name that I operate under of wanting to create a community and space. And that's where the Subliminal show kind of began its birth. Well, more accurately, On We Go began its rebirth. Initially, I started Subliminal to really combine the worlds of psychology, mental health, and then kind of merge that in with the world of gaming. And I was able to create several videos that I do really enjoy and I'm proud of, and I'll definitely keep them up on the channel. But I think kind of where I'm getting a sense of where I need to take this channel is more in the direction of the Subliminal show. And while at first it was kind of centered around, talking with a guest while playing video games, but the transition is really to take a step away from the topic of video games in specific and begin to kind of broaden the perspective to let's sit down and have a healthy conversation. And what does a healthy conversation look like? It's an honest conversation. It's a conversation that listens and cares. I'm going to sit down, and the goal is to sit down with a variety of guests that have different worldviews, different perspectives. They come from different areas, a plethora of individuals that have different life stories, different expertise. I want this show to become a space where we can sit down with a variety of people and listen to them and treat it respectfully and honorably. Because I think just with the world situation that we're in right now, of everything is on either side. There seems to be a firm line drawn down the middle, and you either have to be on the extreme on one side or the other. You can't meet in the middle. You can't have a healthy conversation. You can only argue on social media and post angry comments and share articles biased to your perspective, and you don't have a space to truly listen to people. Every individual is a wonderful reflection, and I think we lose the value of who we are when we get caught up in these either side debates, and we forget that there is a human on the other side of that screen with an experience that is equally valuable and vibrant as our own. This may not get thousands of clicks because I'm not posting things that are controversial, or I'm not siding with one side or the other, but I'm doing something that I'm proud of, and I'm doing something that I'm hoping that others, even if it's a small amount, will be willing to enjoy. And if it does go somewhere and it continues to grow, great. But if not, I'm happy to continue this conversation with the people that will engage. The biggest way that I can tell that people are paying attention and want to be a part of it is if they subscribe. I know that's very cliche, especially for a YouTube show, and it may sound like, oh, I'm just here for the clicks and the subscribers, but and in some ways, yes, honestly, that is true. But I also want this to be something bigger. I want this to be a space where even if there is, no matter the size, I want it to be a space where people are learning and growing and understanding perspectives that aren't their own. Because in reality, we share commonalities with a lot of people. And even though we may disagree on certain aspects or worldviews or perspectives, we can still love and we can still care about individuals. And stereotypically, the phrase cognito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. René Descartes, during this time was really revolutionary in his philosophy of, what it meant to be human. And I would beg to argue, and this is not original, I'm stealing it from someone else, but what if we changed the phrase to Amor, ergo sum? I love, therefore I am. Because I think that more accurately describes us as humans. It's our ability to love and care for another individual that goes beyond our ability to think and theorize, and begin to enter into that space of let's listen and love. And so if you want to participate in this project, if you want to be a part of this community, again, subscribe. That's how I pay attention to what's going on. That's how I know people are interested. Or on Instagram, or on Facebook, our podcast. Just try to combine the word Spotify and podcast right there. Our podcast is on virtually every podcast platform. So that's where the longer versions of the show will be, the full-length version per se, and then the highlights will be uploaded on YouTube. I'm really excited to see where this will go. I found myself that I've been learning just by listening and engaging with these guests. And it's helped me develop a broader perspective of where I want to take this show. And so that's what I'm hoping will happen for everyone that watches, and just going forward. Let's be that space. A space where we can listen, love, and learn. But yeah, thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate you listening to me ramble and just talk about what I'm passionate about. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for supporting me. And let's create this space, this environment to learn, genuinely listen, and care about the people that are around us, and just love people. And so, with our new phrase, keep loving, keep learning. We'll see you next week.